بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So what's the difference between Amara and Asl? This is what we discussed last night, and Dr. Ali asked me about the difference, and I said we need more time to elaborate on it. الفرق بين الأمارة والأصل. The difference between Amara, which is called a sign, and Asl, which is what? What do we mean by Asl? Practical principle. أصول العملية. Practical procedures or practical principles. أصل العملي. Now, the faqih, the jurist, when he wants to legislate, to create a law, he searches for what in the beginning? The first thing he goes after is what? Evidence. Dalil. Why evidence? Because dalil is muhraz, is secured. The evidence, ayah in the Quran. Ayah, sometimes it's very clear cut and very open and very sharp and very obvious. So this is called ad-dalilul muhraz, a secured evidence. Or he goes to the hadith. If not the ayah, then the hadith. Hadith of the Prophet or the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. Again, some of these hadith are very sharp, clear cut. They address the question very plainly and clearly in a very obvious way. So it is called ad-dalilul muhraz. Dalilul muhraz, secured evidence. If he cannot find an evidence, where does he go? He goes to the practical principle. Why do we call it a practical? Because it teaches me what I should do. Because in the absence of dalil, evidence, I need to find an answer. I am facing a situation where I need God to tell me what to do. So if I don't find it in the evidence, I have to search in the practical principles. Practical principles. Do they necessarily tell me the reality? No, not necessarily. It could be, yes, but they could not tell me the reality. The evidence tells me the reality. Are you with me? The evidence tells me the reality, what is there with God. God has something called al-lawhul mahfuz, the preserved tablet, his personal computer, lawhul mahfuz. Everything, every detail, every law is mentioned there in that book, which is with him, Lawh al-Mahfuz. The evidence, the secured evidence, is the reflection of what is written in Lawh al-Mahfuz there, in God's computer. The secured evidence. But the practical principle is not necessarily. It could be a reflection of there, what is with God, and it could be not. But God says, this is the way. I want you to follow this way. Because you have no other choice. How can you know what I want you if there is no secure evidence? There is no other way but to follow the practical principles, usul al-amaliyah. And we spent many weeks studying them. As an example of them is what? Asl, principle. Give me one example. You memorized them at one point. Bara'a. Bara'a, aslul bara'a, that the principle of what? Exemption. That there is nothing on you. Or aslul ihtiyat. Sometimes precaution. You have to take a precaution in this case. Okay? These are examples of these principles. Now, what is the difference between Amara and Asl? Both of them, we have two types of dalil. Dalil al-qat'i and dalil al-dhanni. I write them here. الدليل القطعي الدليل الظني. Dalil al-qat'i is what? This is secured evidence. 100% correct. 100% reflects what is written in al-lawh al-mahfuz. Because this is ayah. God sent this ayah upon the Prophet and he says, Ya Rasulullah, tell the Muslims, aqimus salat, atuz zakat. Prayers is wajib, mandatory, 5 times a day. Zakat is mandatory. And the Prophet, he tells us how much zakat we have to pay. The details are in the hadith. Or the fasting. كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. So we have no doubt that fasting is mandatory in Ramadan. We have no doubt. This is dalil qat'i. However, there is dalil dhanni, which does not reach this stage, is lesser stage. But then Sharia or Shari', lawgiver, says, I give the same value to this like this one. I take this up to this level here. So you have to follow it. Although it is dhan, okay, suppositional evidence, not very clear evidence. It's not clear. But God says, this is what I accept for you and you have to follow it. I endorse it. God says, I endorse this dalil. Although it is not as powerful as this. It's not as powerful as this. But religion endorses it. Because I have no way. Well, in the absence of this, I have to go to this. In order for me to know what I should do, what is my wadhifa, what is my practical stand, I have to follow this. Now, both these, amara and asl, both of them are of what type? This type or that type? Dhanni. Arash, your wedding made you forget half of the lesson. I'm telling you. So now I make it easy for you. Again, the faqih, he goes for the dalil. First of all, he searches for the dalil. In the absence of evidence dalil, he goes to what? He goes to these two things. Asl amali or amara. And I'm going to tell you the difference between them. Because Ali asked me about the difference last night. In the absence of dalil, if he finds dalil, his job is very easy. But when he does not find dalil, he's in trouble. Therefore, he has to resort to this, aslul amali. He has to begin a procedure, certain procedure to find the evidence. But that evidence that is going to find, is it this one or that one? It's not of this type, it's of this type, dhanni. So both asl and imara, their evidence is dhanni, not qat'i. Do you follow me on this? If you don't, tell me, I will repeat that. Ali, are you okay with that?
Yes, yes.
Arish, are you okay with that now? I'll say that again.
I'll catch up.
So, look at here. The jurist, faqih, when he wants to give a fatwa, okay, tells you this is halal or haram. First, he searches for an evidence. Evidence where? In the Quran or the Sunnah? If he finds in the Quran or the Sunnah, it's fine. His job is easy. But in the absence of evidence, if he cannot find, he goes to something called aslul amali. Al-asl al-amali, which is a practical principle. Or they call it procedure sometimes. Why do we call it a practical principle? Because it's a procedure. I have to follow this to find the answer. Tools. This is like tools. It tells me the answer. It's not a clear-cut answer. This is a clear-cut answer. This is not a clear-cut. This is you have to zigzag, zigzag, zigzag until you find
So
it.
can we say there is more effort in the practical?
Yeah, of course, of
Where
course.
the evidence are
Of course.
found.
Of course, there is more. There is more. Although this one is not that easy. I'm making it sounds easy, by the way, because sometimes they differ on the meaning of the ayah. Now look at Muslims, Sunnis and Shias. They differ on how to do wudu. Although it's ayah in the Quran, but they differ on understanding the ayah or interpreting the ayah. So it's not that easy. Sometimes you have disagreements. Even among Sunni scholars, there are disagreement. Even among Shia scholars, there are disagreement when it comes to the ayah and the hadith. It's not as, I'm just simplifying it. So when this one is absent, we go to this one. Now this one is dalil qat'i. Arash. This one is this. This is a powerful evidence. We call it a definite evidence. This one. The evidence is a definite or secured, muhraz. This one is not definite. This one is a probable. Okay? Because you are following a procedure. This is not a clear-cut answer. This is not a clear-cut statement. Okay? So this is dalil dhanni, not qat'i. This is qat'i. See, this one is this, qat'i. But that one is this, dhanni. However, although it is dhanni based on dhann, supposition, but that God says, I accept this dhann. I'll give it a value, so follow it with peace of mind. Don't worry. Even if you make a mistake, I'm not going to punish you. Are you with me? Now, these two, asl al-amali plus amara. I put one here. And this is number one, asl al-amali, and the amara is number two. Both of them, they are dalil dhanni. Are we okay up to here? Are we okay? Now you may ask me, what is the difference between them? Why do we have two? Why shouldn't we have one?
You mentioned the one is more powerful than the other, more secure in a way than another.
This one is a degree above this one. Why? Why this one is a degree above this one?
Doesn't require as much human effort and analysis and, you know.
No. It's not that. Why do we call this dalil qat'i? Why do we call it definite answer, definite evidence? I just mentioned, I pointed to up.
God, it comes from God, a lawmaker.
We call it definite because we know definitely this ayah is the reflection of what is written in his computer. No disagreement between them. No disagreement. The ayah that he sent down, it was there in his book. He sent it down. So there is no conflict between this ayah. Now, if we get a chance to look at his personal computer, we will find that the prayers are 5 daily prayers, neither 6 nor 4. And the morning prayers is 2 rak'ah. Dhuhr prayers 4, Asr 4, Maghrib 3, Isha 4. The same thing which is written in the Quran or the Hadith is written in his book. This is why we call it qat'i. We know there is no conflict. 100% exactly the same. This one, we cannot have the same claim. We say this is a result that we found in the absence of evidence. But that does not mean this result matches what is in his book. Are you with me on this? This is why we call it dhann. This is not qata'. This is not certainty. This is supposition. We suppose that this is the answer. We try our best, but we cannot say this is 100% what is written with him in his book. Are you with me? And these are the dalil al-dhanni. This is imara and asl. But this one is more powerful than this. Why? Because imara, Sharia tries its best to make the imara matches what is in his book, in God's book. While with this one, no, it does not do the same.
Who does say it?
Sharia.
Oh, Sharia.
What is imara? I'll give you an example of imara. What did we say about imara yesterday? Give me an example. What is a sign? We call it amara or sign.
A report from trustworthy person.
Exactly. A report from a trustworthy person tries its best. For instance, Zurara. Zurara is one of the disciples of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. He's very trustworthy. Very trustworthy. He's number one in reporting hadith. In the Shia tradition, you find the name Zurara. Zurara ibn A'yan. He's number one gentleman in reporting the hadith from Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sadiq. Zurara. Great man. Zurara, he's a trustworthy person. And Sharia says this trustworthy is trying to do his best to transfer to you on behalf of the Imam, of course, Ma'soom, not himself. He's just a reporter. He's narrating on behalf of the Imam, the Ma'soom Imam, Imam al-Baqir, Imam al-Sadiq, what is there in God's book. Okay? Now, does that mean in all cases he's 100% correct? No. There is a possibility for mistake. Not deliberately. He's not trying to lie to you, but sometimes he misheard the Imam. He could. He's not infallible. Imam is infallible, but Zurara is not infallible. So sometimes he gets confused. We are not saying everything Zurara is saying 100% matches, but he tries his best. Okay? He tries his best. Therefore, because he's one, but if they were many, then where do we put the hadith? Do we put it here or there? We put it up because there are many. And when there are 10 people who are trustworthy, all of them, they are saying exactly the same sentence, it's impossible for a mistake to happen here. But the problem when we have only one, when you have only one reporter, although he's honest, but there is a room for a mistake. So he's trying his best to match what is in God's book, to tell us al-hukm al-waqi'i, the real, the actual ruling, waqi'i. So it becomes more powerful than this. What is this? This one does not try to tell you, you're going to see what matches God's book. Asl al-Amali says, I'm going to salvage you from a problem, take you out, but not necessarily give you the exact answer. Do you follow me or not? You must follow these. If you don't follow now, it would be difficult in the future, believe me. Because as we move forward, it gets more complicated. Amara tries its best to give you an answer that matches God's knowledge and God's judgment and God's Lawh al-Mahfuz. Amara. Okay? While Asl al-Amali is not. Asl al-Amali says, listen, I'm not going to try to give you exactly what is the answer with God. I'm going to save you from this problem only, but not necessarily giving you the right answer. And we call it, there is a special term for that. Special term. We call it kashifi, revealing of what is in God's book. Okay? Or tariqi. Tariqi. What is tariqi? What does tariq mean? A way to find what is in God's book. Either kashif, revealing, kashifi, revealing what is there in God's book, or a way, طريقي. الطريق, a way to find what is there. What is the real حكم? حكم الواقعي. Are you with me, my friends? If you are not with me, tell me. I repeat this 500 times.
What was
Believe
the
me.
definition of kashifi said?
Kashifi, revealing. Revealing what is there in God's book. In Lawh al-Mahfuz. Revealing the real answer, the real حكم. الحكم الواقعي. واقعي. Didn't we study this last night? واقعي and ظاهري. واقعي is the real. So this Amara tries to reveal what is in God's book. Try its best to reveal. So either we call it kashifi, revealing, or tariqi, a road to find what is in God's book. While this one asl is not kashif, it's not revealing, is what? What do we call it? We call it ta'abbudi. What is ta'abbud? Ta'abbud
Worship.
is submission, absolute submission. You have to submit. Now, whether you are hitting the target or not, this is none of your business. God says, I want you to submit to me here. Now, whether the ruling is going to be matching what is with me or not matching, this is none of your problem. This is not your business. I just want you to follow this path. This is the difference between them. You asked me about the difference. This is why this one, jurists, they give preference to this one above that one. Why? Because this is closer to the reality.
So do you use the same tools to get to either of them? Asl wal Imara, you go about almost the same way.
I'll tell you the difference. There are more differences. Now,
One quick question. Can you give me one example of what's an
Amara?
yeah.
Okay.
Just one example.
I'll give you 3 examples. One of them is khabar al-thiqa, the report of a trustworthy person. One person. See, one person. Although one person, I mentioned this in the past. Let's say we trust someone here in this mosque. We trust him. Or we trust her, let's say. She's a female or a male, and they are honest, they don't lie, they never lied, they always speak the truth. They come to the classroom tonight and they say, we saw an accident outside. We saw someone being shot, or someone died, let's say. He died in the street, on the freeway. Most likely we believe them. We believe them because this person is trustworthy. But there is some room for some mistake, not because this person wants to lie, but maybe he did not see clearly. Maybe he was driving, he saw someone lying on the ground, he thought he's dead. But he did not check on him. Maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's still breathing. But he thought he's dead. So he said, so he was not trying to lie to us, but his judgment was not accurate. Or if he heard something, maybe his hearing was not accurate 100%. However, although there is room for mistake for that person to tell us the wrong thing, but Sharia says you have to accept it from him. And they give hujjiyah to him. Hujjiyah is credibility, authority, worthiness, acceptance, whatever you want to call it. So this is an imara. This is an example of imara. A second example of imara. This is something new. I did not mention this last night. Is ijma'. Ijma' is consensus. Consensus. What does consensus mean?
Most
Public opinion.
public opinion.
All, not most. If we have 10 jurists sitting, 10 faqih, mujtahid, they all unanimously agree that this thing is halal, or this thing is haram, or this one is wajib, or this one is mustahab. Unanimous. No disagreement. Okay? This is amara. Amara, which is closer to the reality, to what is in God's book. Although they are not infallibles, they are not imams, they are not prophet, they are ordinary human being. So their dalil is what? Is this or that? Dhanni is this. But dhanni, which is amara, closer to this. Because 10 jurists, or 20 or 30, all of them are saying the same consensus. So it gives credibility to what they say. So it is most likely it matches what is in God's book. Or something else, shuhra, popularity. Popularity. Shuhra, popularity. Popularity. Shuhra is what? What is the difference between shuhra and ijma'?
It's not 100%.
Exactly. Is 80% of them, 70% of them, not 100% of them. 70%, then we say this is a popular opinion, not consensus. Near consensus, not actual consensus. Shuhra. Shuhra means popularity. This opinion is mashhur. This is why we read in fiqh, sometimes alal mashhur. According to the popular, what does it mean? Not all the fuqaha, 70% of them, 80% of them. Again, this is most likely to match what they say. If they say this is halal, this is haram, this is wajib, okay? Most likely it matches what is in God's book. These are amarat. Singular is amara, plural is amarat. Not imarat. Imarat, the country, EUA. This is amarat. Amarat, which are signs.
Say, what about logic? Is that considered amara? Logic or not really?
No, logic is part of the evidence. We studied that. We studied that in the beginning. Dalilul aqli. Do you remember rational evidence? That is part of this here. Yes, qat'i, yeah. So this is the amara. Amara tries to be kashifi, revealing in what is God's book. Now we come to the second one, this one. Asl al-amali. Asl al-amali tries to be what? Kashifi? Huh, Arash?
After Emily.
Don't think about your wife. Leave her now. Leave her alone. Asl al-amali is ta'abbudi, not kashifi. What does kashifi mean? Again, kashifi means reveals what is in God's book. Reveals the ruling that is waqi'i, the reality. Okay? But Asl al-amali Sharia, when they introduced Asl al-amali for us, they did not intend to be kashifi about the real ruling. No. They intended to be ta'abbudi, that listen, even though you're going to do mistake, even though you are not going to hit the target, you have to follow this path. This is the procedure. Ta'abbudi, submit. Don't argue. Don't say, but maybe, example that I gave yesterday, we come here, not here, somewhere else, let's say. There is a table, there is a desk. Let's say in a restaurant. And in the restaurant they serve wine. Dogs, they go in, probably. But I look at a table in a restaurant. And I did not see any wine being spilled there. No wine, no blood, no urine. Okay? I came, it was clean. Nobody came and told me, Mustafa, there was some wine spilled here 10 minutes ago. Nobody said this to me. Okay? How do I treat that table? Do I treat it as pak, as tahir, clean, or I treat it as najis, impure? Which one? Pak. Tahir. Because if I want to assume everything is najis, then I can't do anything. Although, if I want to be honest with myself, really honest with myself, I know inside me that this table, definitely there was some wine spilled on it. and they did not wash it. You know how they wipe it? This is not cleaning. Wiping is not cleaning. Wiping is not cleaning. We have to wash it with water, running water. But they don't do that. But because I did not see, I have no certainty. If I have certainty, I have to act upon my certainty and I consider it najis. But because I have not reached certainty, I treat this table as what? As pak, as tahir.
Is that principle of exemption?
Bara'a. Exactly. So Sharia tells me, listen, you have to submit. Or for instance, you go to a public bathroom. I can swear that in a public bathroom, this handle is najis. Because some people, they use bathroom, they don't wash their hand, and their hand is wet and they touch it. Hundreds of people, they touch it. But Sharia says, if you don't see with your eyes or someone informs you, then you treat this handle in the bathroom as tahir. Okay? This is aslul bara'a, or aslul tahara, or aslul hil. Hil means everything is halal, unless you are informed that this is haram. This is ta'abbud. This is ta'abbud. This is submission. Ta'abbudi. You cannot say to God, but God, listen, if we really incorporate aql and reason, this definitely is najis. God says, yeah, I know this is definitely is najis. But if I tell you, don't use aslu tahara, then your life is going to be hell. Because everything you touch, it could be najis, everything you touch. So if you assume that everything is najis, you can't do anything. You can't go anywhere. Even you can't trust your dress, your own shoes. You can't trust them. Even your house you cannot trust. So we make it easy for you. We make religion easy for you. So this is ta'abbud. So the purpose of aslul amali is what? Is not to reveal for me what is in God's book. Is to give me a solution to make my life easier for me. So it is submissive element, ta'abbud. Are you with me, friends? This is important to understand this.
Is there a bathroom handle example, an example of aslo amali?
Yes, yeah. Because I know there, no prophet came, no imam told me, listen, Mustafa, you went to Pizza Hut in Irvine, and the handle there, Zurara did not ask the imam about this. Nobody, there wasn't public restrooms in the past. So this is a new situation. What does religion say about this handle? Is it clean or not clean? I have to use this, aslul amali. And aslul amali, when I use this, it tells me aslul bara'a. That this is clean, as long as you don't know. Hatta ta'lam. Until you know otherwise. Until you see it, for instance. Someone, there is najasa on his hand, and he touches it. Now here you cannot treat this as tahir because you saw, you have ilm now. But before having ilm, you consider it tahir. Okay? Or I'll give you another example. We mentioned this last night. If you live in a Muslim country, you treat everything as being halal. Every food, every meat. Because this is suq al-Muslimin. But if you live in America, this is not a Muslim country, and you go to a restaurant, and the restaurant puts a sign, or the owner, you trust the owner. Sometimes the owner is liar, you know him. You can't trust, he's a liar. But sometimes the owner is trustworthy. He says, I'm a Muslim, and I am telling you my meat is halal. Then that's it. You follow him. You follow him. You don't go and investigate anymore. As long as you trust him, he's telling you that you know him, or not necessarily you know him personally. There is no reason for you to think he's lying. There is no reason. Sometimes there is a reason. But sometimes there is no reason. You can tell this guy is honest. And he's Muslim, he's telling you my meat is halal. Then that's it. You eat the meat. Now, does that mean 100% this meat is halal? No. I cannot swear that this meat is halal. But Sharia tells me because he's Muslim and the Yadul Muslim or Qawlul Muslim. Because he's telling you, then follow him. He's a Muslim. But maybe he's cheating on me. Maybe he fooled me. I thought he's trustworthy, but he turns to be not trustworthy. But Sharia says there is no wrong on you. Because you follow the procedure. This is the procedure here. So this is ta'abbud, this is not kashif. When that guy, the owner of the restaurant, is telling me halal, Sharia does not say that here I want you to really, his speech, his answer is matching what is in God's knowledge. No. No, it's saying this is ta'abbud, follow him. That's it, he's a Muslim, we want to make life easy for you. This is the difference between Amara and Asl. Okay? So, Asl al-Amali, the reason we have Asl al-Amali, تحديد الوظيفة العملية, to specify for us what is our practical stand, not what is found in God's book.
Can you say that again, sir?
The practical principles, the reason for the practical principles is to specify for us our practical stand in certain situations, whether we must do or not, whether this is wajib or haram. Not telling us what is exactly found in God's book. Are you with me, Dr. Hamid? While, if you finish writing, let me know so I can say something else.
تحديد الوظيفة
العملية. تحديد الوظيفة. While the secured evidence, which is above this, is الكشف عن الواقع. The job of the secure evidence is to tell me what is found in God's book. So we have two different things here. The dalil al-muhraz, secured evidence, his job is to tell me what is found in God's book. The truth about the ruling, the real ruling. While this one, Asl al-Amali, his job is not to tell me what is found in God's book, is to tell me what to do in this situation. Now, sometimes it matches what is found in God's book, and sometimes it doesn't.
So kashf is in two, dalil al-qat'i and an imara.
Exactly. Imara is not as strong as Dalil al-Qat'i, by the way. It's not. Trying to be.
Right.
But it's not. It's lesser than that in degree.
Gold star human trial.
Exactly. Okay? Are we done? Are you with me, my friends? Okay. Now, the intelligent one amongst you, and all of you are intelligent, remember I said last night, Asl al-Amali is divided into two groups. One of them is muhraz and one of them is not muhraz. One of them is secured, one of them is not secured. One of them, part of them, similar to Imara, part of them is not similar to the Imara. Which one was similar to Imara? Which is secured. We called it secured if you look at your notes. Which one? Exactly.
You give an example, more than one narrator, it's closer to imara.
No. Narrator is part of Imara, not Asl Amali. Part of this, which is very stronger than this.
Correct. One.
But Asl al-Amali, when we came to Asl al-Amali, we said part of it is muhraz, secured. Now we are speaking, listen, don't get confused. Now we are speaking about Asl al-Amali, not Imara. We finished with Imara. الأصل العملي. الأصل العملي. Practical principle. Okay? One of it is secured. Which is what? What was the one secured?
Prayer.
Exactly. قاعدة الفراغ. What is قاعدة الفراغ, Arash? قاعدة الفراغ states that if you are doing your prayers and you just concluded the prayers, you said Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and doubt comes to your mind. Did I do second rak'ah? Did I do ruku' in the third rak'ah or I skipped it? Did I do tashahhud in the second rak'ah or I did? Did I do takbiratul ihram, Allahu Akbar in the beginning, or I just walked in the prayers without saying Allahu Akbar? Then you don't care about your doubts because you finished the prayers. Okay? This is called قاعدة الفراغ. قاعدة الفراغ meaning the law of ending. Law of ending means when you end the prayers, you don't look back. If you have doubt, you don't consider the doubt. You don't take care of the doubt. Just throw it away. Okay, why they said this?
Have finality, stability.
Because they say while you were in the prayers, doing the prayers, you were more able to remember what you did than being after the prayers. Because you were closer to that action during the prayers. After the prayers took you longer time. So while you were doing the prayers, if something wrong had been done, then you would remember it during the prayers. But is this case 100% in all cases correct? No. I could remember it after the prayers. But the norm is the norm, not the exceptions. The norm is that we remember the mistakes while they are happening or closer to the time of their happening, not later on. So this is قاعدة الفراغ. The same second is what?
أصل الحل.
No. This is still in the secured. And I tell you why we call it secure. And why the other we call it non-secure. The second one, istishab. We studied istishab. What is istishab?
Principle of
Continuity. Meaning. Arash, look at this. Tonight, I left this table while it was clean. We locked the door. We came tomorrow. I look at the table and I start having doubt. Maybe this is not clean. In this case, what should I do? Should I say this is still clean, or it is not clean?
Say it's clean.
Exactly. Continue, because nothing happened. After you left, nothing happened. Or I left the dress. This is my dress. Okay? Let's say there was najasa on the dress. Okay? I left it in my room. Then I came next week. I went on a trip. Nobody went into my house, into my room. Nobody touched this. I came back. What should I say about it? Should I say this is clean now because the time has passed? Or I should say no, it was najis and it would remain najis? Which one?
Say it's najis.
Najis. Principle of continuity. Okay? Or let's say, we use this in Sharia. Someone disappeared. Now, when he disappeared, let's say his father died. So his brothers, they gathered to divide the inheritance. And they know nothing about their brother, their sibling. They know nothing about him. Should they say he's dead, or should they say he's still alive? He's still alive. because there is no confirmed news came which said that he is dead. In one case, they cannot say he's still alive. What case?
Or
If he was 50 years old, and then after 50 years, he disappeared for 50 years. Because it is mostly unlikely that he survives until the age of 100. Okay? The age does not permit him. But if he disappeared while he was 50 years old, and after 5 years, we never heard about him, should we assume that he's dead or he's still alive? Alive, because it's only 5 years and he was healthy and it was 5 years. This is istishab, continuity.
say, what about the marriage part? Like if a husband...
The marriage, yeah, this happened many, many times. During Saddam Hussein's time, they used to take, of my family, they took 15 members of my family in the prison, including my grandfather. He died in the prison, 1982. So their families, they know nothing about them. The wife, she doesn't know about whether her husband is still alive, he's killed, he's executed, he's, And she goes to the alim and tell him, what shall I do? Should I get divorced or, should I do iddatul wafat? When someone dies, his wife has to take iddah, waiting period, 4 months and 10 days. The alim says, but there is no news. Do you have a news? Do you have any indication that they killed him? She says, no, I don't. He's in the prison. They took him, last time I heard about him, when they arrested him. And it has been 5 years now. In this case, they apply this, istishab. Because we don't have credible news that he's dead, we assume that he's still alive.
What if she's reaching, let's say, her limit of childbearing?
Yeah, that comes another element that override this element. That element is called usr and haraj. The wife cannot bear the life without a husband. So even though we assume he's still alive, but her life is usr and haraj. Very difficult. She cannot live with no husband. She has to decide her fate. In that case, they can divorce her, not based on this, based on another law, which is called usr and haraj. Because he's away. Nobody's spending on her. Nobody is bringing food home. She has children. Or even if she doesn't have children, she cannot just live there and wait until when? Nobody knows. So in that case, she can get divorced. Okay? So this is, we call it secure. Now we have asl amali. So these are asl amali. Those are not imara. Those are asl amali. These two examples that I gave you are asl amali. But they are secured. We have non-secured. And I tell you why we call them non-secured. Which is what? Aslul what? Exactly. Aslul hil. Aslul hil. What is aslul hil, my friends? Or asalatul hil?
Assume everything halal except the food and milk.
Yeah, unless it's known to be halal.
Asalat al-hil. What does asalatul hil means? It means everything for you is halal. Your job. Don't bother yourself to know what is in God's book. God is telling you, move forward until I tell you stop. Don't just keep asking me, should I stop? Should I stop? Should I stop? No. Move. Okay? So the norm is to move until you find a stop sign. This is asalatu. Everything is halal unless you find an evidence. Now sometimes when I say you, not you or me, the faqih, we are speaking about faqih. Because some people said, well, I couldn't find the ayah in the Quran about wine haram, so I drank the wine. We are not talking about you. We are talking about religion and faqih. Of course, you don't read Arabic and you can't find it. Someone, when we established this masjid 20 years ago, 1996, 21 years ago, women used to come without hijab. And I had difficult time. Every time I have to speak in a nice way because we wanted to gain people. We wanted attendance, people to come. If you want to be harsh with them, they run away. So I used to say it in diplomatic ways, you know. One time, a person stood, he said, "Why do you tell women to wear hijab?" I said, "Because they have to wear." He said, "No, it's not in the Quran." Now, he doesn't read any letter in Arabic, believe me. And I doubt that even he saw the Quran in his life. I said, "Did you search in the Quran?" He said, "Yeah, somebody told me it's not in the Quran." I said, "Who's that somebody?" He said, "He's a doctor." I said, "Doctor in theology?" He said, "No, doctor in medicine." I said, "Doctor in medicine, you go to him when you have stomach pain. Tell him, 'Oh, doctor, when it comes to religion, you come to me. You come to me. And I'll show you 3 places in the Quran Allah speaks about hijab." So some people think, well, I didn't find. No, we are speaking about the faqih, not the jurist, the expert. So here, asalatul hil is also asl amali. That when the faqih comes to a situation, he has first assumption that this is halal, unless proven otherwise. Are you with me? Unless there is an evidence that tells him, no, this is not halal. Whether it's food, whether it's action, whether it's a place, whether it's moving, whether... The first reaction is this is halal. Second reaction is this is haram if there is an evidence. So this is also part of asl al-amali. Now, last thing before I conclude. Why do we call this secured, these two, and this one non-secured?
I was going to ask that right now. So.
Secured means trying to be closer to what is in God's book. Non-secured means not trying to be closer in what is in God's book. Not trying.
What do you mean say it by not trying? It's just, is it?
Not trying?
Really not
Not trying? No, not trying means ta'abbudi. Do you remember the meaning of ta'abbudi? Just follow. Submit. This one is not ta'abbudi. This one is what? Kashifi. This one secured, trying to be kashifi, closer to the reality. This one is not trying to be closer to, because sometimes certain things are in God's book haram, but the faqih thinks this is halal because he could not find an evidence. He could not find an answer. While in God's book, it could be that action or that food, it could be haram. But the faqih did his best and he could not find any hadith. So he considered that to be
So
halal.
it's not necessarily that they're purposely trying to put
Not purposely, no.
Yeah, okay.
Not purposely. Not purposely,
But I
no.
thought this is part of the asl al-amali.
This is part of Asl Amali, yes.
And the difference...
Asl al-Amali,
Amara...
so this one, the secured is similar to the Amara, but it's not Amara. It's even lesser than the Amara. Although it is tried to imitate the Amara, because the Amara also is trying to be a secured evidence, trying to match what is in God's. Khabar al-Thiqa, we said Amara is what? Khabar al-Thiqa. Trying to match what is in God's book. Okay? This one also tries, but to a lesser degree. The power, the energy of this is less than that one.
So say when they come out with a practical principle, then how do you know whether it goes into the secured or unsecured or non-secured?
Because we examine them. Istishab is closer to the reality. I'll give you. I left the desk yesterday clean. I came today. What should I say? Should I say this is tahir or najis? Aql tells me this is tahir. Guys, you locked the door, nobody came in. How come this become najis? So this is closer to the reality. The chances that this one makes mistake is 5%. 95% This one is right. Closer to what is in God's book. The same thing with this Qa'adatul Faragh. Qa'adatul Faragh says, listen, when you were doing the prayers, while you were doing the ruku' and sujood, you were more able to detect your mistake than after the prayers. Are you with me? So Qa'adatul Faragh, not 100% always correct, but 90% is correct. Trying to match what is in God's book. Whereas this one, Asalatul Hil, it's not trying to match in what is God's book, but not on purpose to defy. No, not on purpose. This one tries to make life easier for you. This is a statement of God. He's telling you, listen, I want to make life easier, so don't bother whether you did wrong or right. I'm trying to make the life easier for you.
Isn't that one said, isn't that very close to istisqa in terms of everything is halal, that there's a continuity until there's evidence to show that it's haram?
No, because this one, we were certain and then doubt came. This one, we were not certain. We don't know. This is, we don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know about this food. They brought me fruit. I don't know anything about it. While this one, I knew 100%. I left this food on this table. Nobody touched it. Today I come, I assume it's tahir. So I have an earlier certainty. Now I have doubt. So I don't care about the doubt. Unless I have another certainty that removes that, the other certainty. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.